could you get us started?
Yeah, for sure. So thanks everybody for joining the May 25th Education Standards Committee meeting. I think today we were just going to do a really quick run through of the kind of 3 priority project areas that the committee is focused on. And so I think first up, we wanted to talk through some of the literacy work, Alistair, and kind of where we're at with that. I know there are a couple of announcements that maybe I'll start with, and then you can kind of provide another update.
Great.
So for folks that aren't yet aware, Alistair, yay, was accepted into the NASB Early Literacy Working Group. And so he'll be working alongside, I think like there's 6 or 7 other states on some early literacy work. And bring kind of those resources and things like that back to the committee. But we are excited to have him involved in that work. And then I believe the second announcement was the American University Pro Seminar, the master's students that Dr. Sutter does a course with. I met with them on Monday evening, and there are 2 students. Both are teachers. Both are actually literacy teachers too, which is really wonderful. And they are going to be assisting us with a kind of literacy specific research project. One is an 8th grade ELA teacher in North Carolina, and the other is a 2nd grade ELA teacher in Florida. And so they're really excited to help support some of the literacy research of this committee. And we can talk a little bit more in detail about that, but they'll be working with us on our project through the course of this summer, kind of with a crosswalk analysis related to professional development and training and kind of understanding what that looks like across the country, but also work related to how might we as the state board do some outreach and surveying of current DC teachers on like what development, like PD they're receiving, what trainings they're receiving and stuff like that. So we did our kickoff call Monday, went well, but those are my 2 announcements related to literacy.
Fun fact, Sharon, who's one of the students, was actually a substitute teacher at Maury Elementary in Ward 6 before going to North Carolina.
She did mention that she had spent some time at DCPS. So I didn't follow up exactly where. But
yeah, we had a funny conversation the first night of class session. And I was like, oh, the school that I can see out the window. Excellent.
Yeah. And then Alistair, I think, were there other literacy things that you wanted to touch on too?
For all intents and purposes, there's nothing that needs to be done today. So I think just on my side, a lot of it is tactical stuff that I'd love to get your advice on at the next meeting. And for today though, Alex, given that we've just spent 90 minutes together, is there anything else we need to decide now?
No, there's nothing else that needs to be decided now. Correct, related to literacy, nothing.
Okay, super. So then I will have longer updates for everyone at our next meeting. And Levi, I got really excited thinking about the possibility of us doing something similar to Kentucky of like, what are standards of student engagement that follow through rather than just do a 30-minute check-in at the end, you know? And so, you know, if you're with us next year, would love a chance to work on something like that, right? So just flagging that as an idea that I'd love everyone's thoughts on for next time as well. And President Sutter, you know, I also don't see there's anything we need to decide on social studies either. So let's call it a meeting then and have a longer discussion next time and leave. Hope you make it home safely before your phone dies.
There is one other thing, Representative Chang,
yes.
To kind of talk through. It's not a long thing at all, but it was brought to my attention that we wanted to discuss the idea or any possibility of holding any committee meetings in person moving forward. And if that's something that members of this committee might be interested in doing, whether it's on a permanent basis, an ad hoc basis. And so wanted to get the pulse of members on that.
When is our next meeting, Alex?
The next meeting will probably be June, let's see here, June 22nd,
Right, 5 p.m.
5 p.m.
I think that I personally prefer having these meetings virtual.
Okay.
But I'm very open to, I mean, that day I could come in, so we could do one in person and then move it to virtual. What are folks thinking about this?
For that meeting, I will actually be in Norway, so I was planning on joining from Zoom. So if it's in person, I don't think I can make the commute all the way to Judiciary Square, but I will join from Zoom if it's in person.
Right.
My inclination is that committees, this committee continue to meet virtually unless there's a good purpose to meeting in person. So say if we had a chance to have another panel or we wanted to dig in on something together in person as more of like a working meeting, that seems to make good sense to me. I also think thinking about giving the idea of meeting in person with enough advance notice so that folks can sort of schedule it into their calendar. So maybe like thinking about if this happens again, starting in September, as most committees will take a break during August and the board won't have a public meeting in August.
So
That's
it's
my
decided, Alex. We are continuing virtually, and so if you guys could send out a Zoom link for this next month, that would be super.
Yeah. Representative Wattenberg, were you going to chime in and say something? I saw you go off mute, so I wasn't sure. Going once, twice?
Yes, I was just going to agree that in general, we should continue virtually, but I also think there are reasons to have them sometimes, partly for a speaker, but also for a good discussion on some issue. So that's all. By the way,
Ruth, we lost you.
It's my understanding that Ruth is in transit to another engagement, so she might have been lost, but I think that's really everything that we needed to discuss at this meeting of the committee.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Alex and team. Giselle, amazing job facilitating. Really, thank you. And looking forward to our next gathering. Safe travels to Norway. Leave. When do you head over?
I leave the 15th, so I'll be here
Okay.
for the working session, and then I will miss part of the public meeting, and then I'll be in classes. But I'll still be at this next standards meeting.
Okay, great. Safe travels, and thanks everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.